Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have a book review for you guys, and this book is Sold by Patricia McCormick. And I don't know if you guys can tell because I know there's a pretty big glare, but this has a little award right here that's the National Book Award finalist, National Book Award finalist. So I didn't originally intend on buying this book when I bought it a few months ago. I had the books that I was getting ready to check out, and then I passed by one of those tables where they have all of the books that are either popular or new, and I saw this bright yellow book, and I picked it up and I read the synopsis and I was like, I need to buy this book. So if you guys aren't familiar with this book, it is about a 13-year-old girl named Lakshmi, and I'll leave her name and how you spell that somewhere around here so you guys know how you say her name or how you spell it. And it is essentially about her being thrown into the world of prostitution, and it's a really good book. I like this book. I thought it was pretty interesting. I love the concept of the story. I gave it a 3.5, and I will fill you in on why I gave it a 3.5 instead of a 5, especially since I said it's a really good book. But essentially, this book is about, a 13-year-old girl who gets thrown into this world of prostitution. She lives in her and her family live in a very small village in Nepal, and they rely heavily on their crops and their animals to make money. That's their source of income. And normally in this small village, it's a very, third world country kind of village, because they don't have any running water, they don't live in apartments, and they rely on their crops and animals to make money. But in this village, technically the men are supposed to be the ones to do all of the hard labor and bring the money home and take care of their families. But unfortunately for Lakshmi and her family, her father is disabled, and I can't remember if he has a messed up arm or leg, but he's basically handicapped, so he can't do the hard manual labor that all the other men in the community can do. And so it falls on to the wife to be the breadwinner of the family, and then it also falls on to Lakshmi. One of the things that really annoyed me about the stepfather, is that he is disabled, doesn't make any money, and the money that his wife makes, or that they do make, he decides to spend it on poker money, gambling. And so all of the money that they make pretty much disappears, and they have no money because this jackass wants to play poker all night. So that's something that really annoyed me about this story. But it was a good character, and I liked the story. It made the story that much more believable, and it gave the story some personality. And so, like I was saying, she gets thrown into this prostitution world because her stepfather's a douchebag. I said he was a douchebag before because he decides to spend money on gambling and stuff, but he really is a douchebag because he tells Lakshmi that she needs to get a job in order to help out around the house and help the family, and then he sells her into prostitution. He sells her for, I think, 800, it's rupees or something like that, which isn't a lot of money. He was bargaining for a higher amount, but the person that he was selling her to wouldn't give him that amount, and so they knocked it down. So this poor girl gets sold into prostitution, and she's under the pretense that she's going to the city, which is India, and that she's going to be working in the city for, I think, cleaning or something like that. I can't remember. But basically she thinks she's going one place to do one thing, and she ends up being taken to this brothel where all these other prostitutes live and work, and it's just, it's disgusting. The way that she explains the situations and the scenes that she's in is just pretty disturbing. But this story is told in the perspective of a 13-year-old girl, and I'm assuming that the girl might be this chick on the cover over here, I guess. I don't know. So she ends up getting sent to this brothel to work, and I think her name was Mumtaz, and I'll also leave a link somewhere here. But the lady that's in charge of the brothel tells her that she has a debt that she needs to pay, and blah blah blah. And so she's thinking in her head, I can work here and do what she's asking me to do, and then as soon as I'm done paying her back, I can leave and go back home. And the thing that also pisses me off about the story and how the story went is that she thinks that she's saving up all this money to get out and also to save and send to her family, but she's really not. Like, they're not going to be sending her parents or her family any money, and she's never going to get out. But she doesn't know that. So this book was a really, really good book. The writing style of this book is very different. It's not like your typical chapter book. It's called, the style that it's written in, it's called vignette, I think it is. I don't know if that's how you say it, but it's like little, it has little headlines at the top of every page, and then it has like a paragraph or two, or maybe a page or two of what's going on. And this is all in the perspective of this young girl, and that's basically how the entire book is. That's how you read the book. I like this style because I've never read anything in this style. I've never read anything in verse form either, or I've never really read a lot of poetry either. So it was really quick to get through this book and read it all. Granted, it's not a very big book as it is, but it definitely did make the reading of this book a lot faster because it was written in that style. I like that, but at the same time, I kind of wish that they would have given more detail in the chapters or pages that were going on. Like, I wish I knew more. I also wish that other characters' perspectives were given in the story. Like, I kind of wish I would have been able to know what the other characters in the story were thinking and things like that. But otherwise, other than those two things, otherwise it was a pretty good book. I did enjoy it. I guess that's the only things that I would say about that book is the fact that there aren't very many details. I like the concept. I had no idea about prostitution being such a big thing in Nepal. At the end of the book, there is a writer's note, and it talks about this issue, which I thought was really, really, really cool that they included that in there. I'm gonna read you guys like part of what it says on the author's note. It says, each year nearly 12,000 Nepali girls, Nepali girls are sold by their families intentionally or unwittingly into a life of sexual slavery in the brothels of India. Worldwide, the U.S. State Department estimates that nearly 500,000 children are trafficked into the sex trade annually. So that's pretty crazy. Your family sells you because they need money, and you're gonna go be a prostitute. That's intense. But I really enjoyed this book. I thought this book was a very, very good storyline. Very graphic at some points. I mean, as graphic as it can get from the perspective of this young girl. It's very graphic. It's very disturbing to know the kind of horrific things and horrific conditions that these young girls are living in. And it's sad to actually know that this happens, not just in Nepal, but in other countries too. So I really enjoyed reading this book. I just wish it would have had a few things tweaked. But other than that, it was a very good book. She was a very strong character. I'll give you that. For being a 13-year-old girl, she was a very strong character. She was very determined and motivated to get out of that brothel and go back home. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I don't think they say whether or not she made it out. But even if they did, I'm not going to tell you guys. So you guys should just go read it for yourself and find out what happens in this story. But yeah, I like this book. It was a really good read, really quick read, really easy to read because it's in her perspective. And yeah, that's why I gave it a 3.5 out of 5-star rating. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.